My brothers keep a show, I gotta let them know. Tuesday, 7 p.m., gotta let them know. 3 M's meant to model, gotta multiply. God gets all the glory, hands in the sky. My brothers keep a show, I gotta let them know. Tuesday, 7 p.m., gotta let them know. 3 M's meant to model, gotta multiply. God gets all the glory, hands in the sky. My brothers keep a show. Introduce the host. My brothers keep a show. Introduce the host. Pastor Dr. Michael Green.
Are you hungry yet? Come on over to Peru's Chicken, where we're cooking up mouth-watering Peruvian-style dishes like quesadillas, tacos, burritos, yuca, arroz con mariscos, camarones a la parrilla, charbroiled chicken, fresh salads, and so much more. Our friendly staff at both of our locations, Lanham at 9001 Annapolis Road in Lanham, Maryland, or Mitchellville at 12106 Central Avenue in Mitchellville, Maryland, we are ready to serve you. Just come on in. Y claro que sí, hablamos español. Peru's Chicken. ¿Tengo hambre?
3, 2, 1. Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good evening and welcome to the greatest show on this side of greatness. Of course, this is My Brother's Keeper, where greater men continue to make men great with the spirit of excellence. Of course, we know that it is a Tony the Tiger Terrific Tuesday, and of course, we know it's great. Of course, you know by now that is Brother Dr. Brian Champion is not sitting next to me. And we have Brother Eric Simpson sitting in for the vacationing Dr. Brian Champion. Now, just want to get a few shout outs out of the way. Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, also New Jersey, Washington, Maryland, and the DC area. Also on the West Coast, traveling all the way across the country, Pomona, California, as well as Ontario, California. And also shout out to the Imani Christian Cathedral Fellowship under the leadership of Bishop Jelani Kafela. Thank you for your support. Also shout out to James B. Walker, the presiding prelate of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church 7th District. Thank you again for your continued support. The call-in number, ladies and gentlemen, is 301-429-9247. That number again, 301-429-WBGR. Also, please remember to like and share. Say it with me, like and share. You can also watch us on Roku, as well as downloading the WBGR app on your Fire Stick. And again, please like and share. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very a topic that we're going to be discussing tonight is very personal and dear to my heart. And but right now, I would like to welcome Mr. Eric Simpson, crisis counselor and social worker. And we're going to be engaging in very personal testimony of his as well. But I just wanted you to, if you could, bring your young people around. Bring your young people around and make sure that your young people are able to hear and be a part of this show tonight. Because again, we are on the rise of our young people being committing suicide at alarming rates. And one of the things that I wanted to really just bring you in, and this is mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going out. So definitely we're right on point, right on schedule with it. So welcome to the show.
Thank
welcome,
you.
Welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
And please, again, tell your wife happy birthday.
Yes. Yes. Happy birthday, babe. She had a nice 3-course meal, and she got a dessert waiting on when I get there. Oh yeah.
This brother know how to prepare the way.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, again, welcome to the show, and tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself.
Alrighty. Good day, everyone. Again, you can say my name, Eric Simpson. By nature, I'm a social worker. By job title, I'm a crisis counselor. Born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. Educated in Atlanta at Clark Atlanta University. Shout out to CAU. A little bit about me. I'm a jack of all trades. That's what I consider myself. I'm a musician. I'm a preacher. I'm a minister of music. I'm a worshiper. I'm a poet. I'm a singer.
You do it all.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, out of all of those titles, which one brings you joy?
I think being a human brings me joy. Just being human.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's wise beyond his years. He just threw me a curve, right? Being a human.
Yes,
do
sir.
expound.
I'm in grad school, and I'm in grad school for rehabilitation counseling and clinical mental health. And one of the things that I learned about myself is that I'm priding myself on humanistic values. What it means to share the human experience with other people, understanding what their experience is. Being empathetic, not always just sympathetic, and being able to work with that individual, seeing the good in them, and also seeing the God in them.
Okay, all right. Now that's some good stuff there.
Yes, sir.
That's some real good stuff there. Appreciate that, man. Suicide. Your definition of suicide.
Taking your own life.
Taking your own life.
Yep.
And in your profession as a crisis counselor, how is it, how can I do this? Let's go into, if you will, I was going to role play.
Okay.
But I want to back out of that.
Okay.
But I really want to kind of get you warmed up and settled in before we get into your story.
Okay.
Because you have a very powerful story that really intrigued. And as we were talking yesterday, that's what compelled and was like, wow, would you come and tell and talk? Because a lot of our young people are in pain and they don't know how to talk about it. Our young people are hurting and they don't know how to talk about it. How do one get to a place of sharing what hurts when they don't know what hurts?
That's a loaded question.
Yes.
There's so many pieces that's wrapped up in not being able to speak about what's troubling you. One of the easiest things to reference is feeling like someone is going to listen to you as a challenge in our community. Mental health is already stigmatized in the African American community. So with the stigma already, 9 times out of 10, the individual who has the problem won't come to you for help because they already feel like you're going to shun them. Or you're going to tell them, pray it away. Or, Jesus take the wheel. We were just talking about that, And I love God. But there's also issues with people that need more or need something in addition to the prayer. There's some people that they're chemically imbalanced and they need medication. Or there's some people who need the talk therapy so that they can talk through and work through their issues. So there's stigma that's attached to it. There's fear that's attached to it. A lot of times for other people, it can be traumatic to relive the thing that they need to discuss so that they can move forward. And so it can be re-traumatizing for a lot of individuals. So you take those 3 things right there in and of itself, and it can answer the question, but there's so many pieces in addition to it that you can talk about just that alone, why people don't come for help.
Because within we're talking about the black community for one, that stigma, you crazy, or man, you something wrong with you. You're not right in the head. You can't get right. Wow. Let's kind of do a role play.
Let's do it.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
I don't want to live.
Okay, what's going on? Tell me more.
I don't want to live. I'm ready to die.
What does that look like for you?
The end. I have no one to listen to me. I have no one to talk to. Everyone is angry, and I stay angry at myself all day. I can't see no end to my anger with myself.
Okay. Sounds like you just feel like there's no assistance for you, and then you're angry with yourself. Can you tell me a little bit more?
I can't trust nobody.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have anyone to trust. I don't have anywhere to go to no one to listen to me. I need, and this was a last resort because I saw this hotline, number, and I just said, let me call this number. Let me call this number before I do what I'm gonna do. So you're my last resort, and I'm not even feeling this conversation right now because you just keep asking me questions and I'm hurting.
Okay. Can you tell me more about your hurt?
Started when I was a young man, much younger. My father beat my mother. My father beat me, beat my siblings, and now I'm in an abusive relationship, and I'm being beat in my relationship. I'm being beat verbally and emotionally. Lost my job. I'm just hurting all over, and it hurts.
I can see and understand how that might hurt, having those experiences that you've experienced. Can you tell me how that makes you feel?
It makes me feel like killing myself.
How do you plan on doing it? Do you have a plan?
Jumping across the bridge.
Okay.
Parking my car, getting out, jumping off the bridge.
You have the means to make this happen?
Look, man, you asked me how I was going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Well, you called, and it seems like you want some assistance with something.
I want some help. You were my last resort. That's why I called. And I was looking for a lifeline. Help me. Can you meet me? Can you talk to me? Can you connect me with someone that can possibly help me?
We can definitely make that happen, but let's continue the conversation. May I ask you another question?
Okay.
All right. I get the sense that you are looking for some help, and I want to ask this question just to get a gauge. What are your reasons for wanting to live?
They were taken away. My brother died, my father died, my mother died. Everything that appears to be connected to me either die or leave.
Okay, so it sounds like the things that you're connected to have left you in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's hurting.
And it's hurting.
How can I stop the hurting?
It can take some time to get there.
It'll
but
take
it's
some
possible.
time. How much time?
Time is relative.
What's relative? I'm in pain. In fact, my buddy told me he bought a new gun, and I want to go see his gun, and I'm going to sneak it away and possibly use it. I'm hurting. It seems to me that you're keeping the person engaged. You're asking the questions to really penetrate to the core of what the hurt is. What if the person cannot articulate it?
There will be a continuous set of questions, or just assessment, risk assessment, level assessment. I didn't quite get into it as much, but it was just an assessment to see how far along were you with your plan. Did you have a formulated plan?
Yes.
If you had a formulated plan, did you have the means to make this plan happen?
Yeah.
That can determine what that conversation looks like. But initially, you're correct. The beginning of the conversation is an engagement tool to build that relationship so that you feel comfortable to talk to me.
Yes.
That's usually the most important piece, is that rapport building, relationship building in like 3 questions so that someone feels comfortable to talk to you.
And I guess I appreciated your calm demeanor Because even as I was trying to intentionally push you, you stayed monotone. And still just ask those questions to get you to where you were trying to go, which is the core. So I think that that was very powerful. So when someone calls there, you're not getting excited with them. You're staying calm.
Right. I mean, because even the excitement could cause a myriad of reactions for another individual. They could hang up and boom, take the gun, boom, they're dead. Or they can hang up and who knows, whatever their suicide option they might have considered, that person can be responsible for that action if they excite them. It can send them into a trauma response if they elevate their voice or if they say the wrong thing. So you have to be very mindful of your energy and your response.
What is some of the training that you had to undergo to even work as a crisis counselor? What is some of the training?
Well, I'm still undergoing it now. Pursuing my master's degree. The requirement is to have a bachelor's level degree and have a comprehensive understanding of what mental health is, what mental diagnoses are, a comprehensive knowledge of what some of the medications are that individuals take for their psychiatric diagnosis, and understanding de-escalation techniques depending on, well, just de-escalation techniques in general. Because there may be times when you have to de-escalate. Or perfect example, we may have a conversation with an individual who is having suicidal ideations, or we may have to de-escalate or talk them through that discussion, that conversation.
That's just like a negotiator, basically, on the police department. Okay. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 24. That's the CDC numbers. And suicide is the second leading cause of death for college-aged youth and ages 12 to 18. More teenagers and young adults die from suicide than from cancer, heart disease, AIDS, birth defects, stroke, pneumonia, influenza, and chronic lung disease. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So as I was really reading, the stats on this, it was really alarming because, again, I was called up to the school, and one of my members, his best friend, committed suicide. He called him, and he said, "I'm getting ready to do it." They tried to find him, but by the time they found him, he had already hung himself. And that's a sad case, but peeling the layers back of the young child's life, his mother committed suicide. Father is alcoholic, and so therefore, he was getting ready to graduate high school. So he had an up to his life, but it seems like he couldn't connect the dots. In your professional opinion, where do you see where he could have, someone could have kind of help him connect the dots? I know it's kind of...
Yeah, that's one of those tough and nearly impossible questions to answer, because it takes someone to know what they're looking for in order to know how to address it. So on the outside end, case in point, a 13-year-old acting out in school, getting in fights every day. Okay. That can be a trauma response. That can be a call out for help versus, oh, that's just your typical black boy who got problems. We have labels that we have in the communities on different things, and sometimes it's mislabeled. And so if we have an individual who that's getting in fights all the time, sure, it's problematic, but it might not be just because they have an anger problem. It might be because it's their trauma response to the crap that they're dealing with, and they're really asking for help. Someone who has the compassion to go and do the deep work with that individual. Back in the, I see that. I don't.
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I see the hat. Several hats. I wear one that says "Make Black Pride Great Again." I seen one that says "Make America Great Again," and then I came across one that said "Make the Hood Great Again," and I was like, "What does that look like? What does making the hood great again look like?" It comes from the aunties and uncles that's not scared to have a conversation with your niece and nephew about the stuff that really matters. Not just your aunt, the whole community. The hood is a great community, or it can be a great community if we change the behaviors and if we change the way we react to those behaviors. So to answer the question, it's a twofold question.
Yes.
Because you are responsible for the way life deals with you. You are responsible with the cards you're dealt. But you also have a community, or should have a community of people that when they see you in trouble, they're coming to your aid. And a lot of times we don't get that because people don't let others know that there's an issue in the first place.
Yeah. Because of whatever kind of types of fears that impairs us.
Yes, sir.
Take me in the life of Eric when he wanted to disconnect and leave this world.
Man, 2014. I remember like it was yesterday. I smile now because of the work that I've done to be in the position that I am in. It was a difficult time. I had started my master's program not too long ago. I got kicked out of my master's program because I didn't maintain the GPA. I needed a 3.0, got a 2.85. I remember vividly. I got 1A, 2 Bs, and 1 C. The 2 Bs were considered below 3.0, so I was flabbergasted by that. Got kicked out of school in one day, got fired from a job the same day. It was Christmas, so one of my Christmas presents was to go to a Detroit Lions game. So we're driving from Milwaukee, because that's where my wife lives. 5-hour drive, we get pulled over 1 hour away from Detroit. 1 hour away from the game. Our bank accounts my bank account literally said like $75 and like 20 cents, something like that. Got pulled over, couldn't drive the car because the car was in my wife's mom's name and not in ours name, so they towed the car. We still had an hour to get to Detroit. Didn't have enough money to get to Detroit, so we had to book a hotel, stayed in the hotel that night, and then found our way back to Milwaukee. I was in a terrible space. Again, I'm in grad school so that I can further my career. I lost a job that was making me money, and now I can't even go celebrate to go watch my favorite football team, and they won the game, mind you. So I was in just the worst space. I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And each time it seemed like there was always a reminder of that inward thought that I had that I was inept or that I was inadequate. And so I wanted to just jump. I wanted to jump in front of the next 18-wheeler. No lie. I mean, I literally, this is me, this is the white line, that's 18-wheelers. I almost jumped. Almost jumped. Because it felt like the world was crashing down on a day, on just a whole, that's what it felt like.
Between wanting to jump and not jumping, that space right there, what saved you out of that space? What pulled you out of that space of not jumping?
You know, I know in theory,
and I know that you're the realness won't let you answer with the cliche response. So I
keeps it real now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I know. So
I knew I had someplace to be. I knew I had work to do. I knew I was called for something. Right then in that moment, it felt like I was ready to give all of that up. But I was kind of reminded, I got something to live for, and that's worth living for.
Okay.
That was it. I mean, it wasn't much more than that. It was just a little bit of hope. I got something to live for. I have something to live for. I may not know what it is right now, and it certainly might not feel like it's a lot, but I know I had something to live for.
But that's what you had to hold on.
That's what I had to hold on.
That's where you were.
That's where I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it was, I could give all of this up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I still held on. Even, you know, I cried through it. I cussed through it. I drank through it. I even smoked through it. But I still held on.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I can recall in 1998, I had lost my mother, and it was around July. I lost my mother in April, and I was a wreck, and I wrecked everything connected to me. So, in other words, I was going 150 miles an hour backwards. And it came to a night in July, the 29th, where I felt I didn't have anything to live for. And it was right in that space that I grabbed, well, it really wasn't myself, but I had family members also praying for me, but in that space it was just myself and God. And that was my God encounter. And that's where it's like insanity is a hair fraction. So I think I crossed that hair fraction and I lost it. And I was ready to, but I was pulled back by power unbeknown. I mean, hindsight 2020, I know that it was God that pulled me back from over that fraction of hair. That fraction where, you know, I lost it and getting ready to go, but it was God that pulled me back on this side. So it is hard. And even in all of my recklessness, it's hard to articulate. And here I am, or was at that time, a grown man, but could not articulate the pain, the hurt, the suffering of losing a mother, you know. But I'm God thankful that I was pulled back through the power of God. Like I said, what really wasn't praying it away, but it was at that moment where it is what it, you know, and it's like, but I was pulled back. Hallelujah. But your testimony just triggered me to share that, because someone need to hear that there is hope. There is hope. What are some of the signs? What are some of the signs of someone in trouble? I know for me, it was reckless living. It was just not caring, you know. And mind you, I would get up and go to work every day.
Yeah.
From April to July, I would get up and go to work every day. But I was a wreck.
So you're an example of someone who's functioning through their mental health disorder or mental health disease.
Yes. Yes.
Depression. A statistic, by 2020, depression will be the second leading cause of disease. Depression is usually the umbrella to suicide. Depression, anxiety, stress, anger. Some of the signs of depression could be loss of interest in something that you really love, or extreme weight loss or extreme weight gain, or loss of appetite, or binge eating. These are some of the signs and symptoms of someone who might be depressed, or that might be they might be emotionally unconnected. They may be sensitive to everything, or they may be insensitive to anything.
So that young lady that's eating and have gained weight cannot fit her clothes anymore, and so it really would actually send her over the edge for people to laugh and point and talk about her.
You know, for some people it can be, and to technically be classified as someone who has depression, you have to present with at least 5 of those symptoms. But for someone who might be having one, you know, that might be an anxiety issue, or that might be a self-esteem or a confidence issue. I don't want to get, excuse me, I don't want to get too much on what those might look like, but those are all umbrellas to what it might look like, or what the path to suicidality might be.
How about the young black son that in school, but he's diagnosed special ed?
That's difficult. You know, that's a personal story. And my little brother has an IEP, and my brother requires an extreme amount of support and patience, because he just thinks he is a regular kid, but he's a regular kid with some differences. And so if that support isn't there, that can be the foundation to a lot of different things for those individuals. If they're being bullied in school and that's not being addressed at home, that can harbor into a lifelong issue. So for someone who might be bullied from 8 to 18, that chance for that hope or that saving might be long lost. You know?
As we were talking yesterday, let's talk about from the space of a lot of, as we engage with youth, the hope, the loss of hope that is within much of our youth. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Where's the hope gone?
as you talked about, Auntie and Big Mama and them have gone on. And because a lot of that was, they reinforced a lot of that. So a lot of the reinforcement that we used to have in the village no longer exists. I mean, just the care alone, just the care, just the eye care, that you get up, brush your teeth, and that you have a meal on the table and before you leave out the door. But now it seems like a lot of kids, they're raising themselves, and there's no hope, because now you have a generation that didn't have hope. Now the kids don't have hope. They don't know what hope even looks like. Care to expound?
There's so many situations that can make someone seem like life is hopeless, and let's be real, it ain't always just in the hood, you know.
No.
It's not, and it's with families who are affluent.
Well,
who have
I wanted to touch on a lot of the underdeveloped economically.
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to just touch on that before we moved over, because again, it doesn't have a. Of course, we see. Columbine, Sandy Hook, those shooters, they come from affluent homes. So, I mean, it still plagued their communities equally as well.
Indeed.
But for all intents and purposes, I'm connected to Ray, and I love the fact that they don't have their pants up, because they're not shooting up schools. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, to your point, I think we can look at a lot of societal factors that play into the lack of hope. I'll even talk about my hood. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. And growing
up,
up,
Jersey Drive?
Yeah,
What's
man.
That movie? You remember Jersey Drive? See, just like he didn't remember Billy D. Williams.
See?
Go ahead.
But if you walk into the neighborhoods, a lot of things that you see or don't see are part of the problem. Lack of resources is usually one of the biggest things that I can point out that I notice in our impoverished communities where people look like me.
Yes.
If there aren't places where I can go and get the help that I need, one, I'm not going to know that it exists. Two, I'm not going to know that it can help me.
Yeah.
Three, I ain't going to know where the heck to go.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is a big problem. And it marginally, disproportionately affects us in ways that we can't even imagine.
Wow.
The lack of resources alone. In the 1980s, when the war on drugs was, I don't remember the president.
Ronald Reagan.
Yes. When he put the war on drugs out there, the resources were taken out of the African American communities. That set us up for generationally being effed up. If I keep it all the way real. And what did the caucus people get? They got the resources that they needed for the addictions, for the different drugs.
Well,
that were
we
being
even see
used.
a lot of that playing out even right now because of the opioid addiction, and it plagued their community. So now all of a sudden, it's this massive, help or push to help, with the addiction of opioids. But not lock them up, but lock up, the crack, cocaine, and absolutely. But even the Reagan administration that declared on war on drugs through Nancy Reagan, and a lot of those drugs was coming in through what the Iran-Contra and they flooded the communities, and that was one of the first times in the community the fathers was really AWOL and left the homes because of, again, we start seeing the push of the 3 strike and everything. So yeah, I
mean, and that was just the framework to what it is today. Because we could still go to some neighborhoods and the resources may or may not be there. The places are broken down. The staff is overworked and underpaid. So it sets up a trickle down effect with the lack of resources when it comes to these neighborhoods. And then when you get people that's willing and ready to do the work, they get burnt out because they are giving every ounce of light that they have to give to these lightless people or situations where there are no light. And I could be talking about light literally. Lights might be turned off. You know what I'm saying? the lack of resources
Wow.
is a huge one. If you look at the neighborhoods, the crime rate is higher. There are children who are more likely to see gun violence than others. If you go a couple of cities over, that is a traumatic factor that pays into what these people experience on a daily basis. Abuse is rampant in the community. I mean, it's rampant in any community, but any type of abuse, whether it's emotional, physical, or even sexual abuse or verbal abuse. Those are factors that play into what a child or what a person can develop into if not properly taken care of.
Well, I would say it's rampant in every area. I would say some communities it's behind the door, and some communities it's outside the door.
Yeah.
You know, so it depends on what community and know the language when you know you're approaching it. When should someone seek help?
Anytime you feel like you need help, seek help. The same way we call our friends, hey, yo, bruh. Hey, girl.
Yeah.
Keep it 1,000. When your friends ask you how you doing, like, okay, look, bro, I'm really not doing good right now. I'm in a really bad space. I got homies I could call right now, and if I told them half the stuff that you just said, they gonna be ready to go through whatever they need to do to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know, anytime you feel like you need help, or anytime you feel there's a problem, it is okay to ask for help.
Okay, let's stop right there. let's put a pin right there.
Yes, sir.
Ask me how I'm doing.
How you doing, man?
Blessed and highly favored.
What's blessed look like?
I'm blessed and highly favored, you know. Too blessed to be stressed. Okay. I'm living my best life.
Yes, sir.
But yet still, after I leave your presence, I can't pay my light bill.
Okay.
You know, I'm being abused at home, verbally, physically abused at home, but I'm living my best life. You know what I'm saying? These are these catchphrases, and we come masked and dressed up, and even come to service on Sundays. We're dressed up, but we're hurting and we're dying on the inside. So how do we ask for help when we've convinced ourselves that I don't need help because I'm too blessed to be stressed? Let's go right there. Let's
right
see.
there.
Yeah.
It is a matter of really knowing what you need. Because that person right there, they gave me a little bit of what's happening.
Yeah.
But they're kind of out there. You know, they're not really in tune with what's really popping. Because if they're saying all of that those are already triggers for you need some help. You need to talk to somebody. You have to have the confidence to ask for help. I don't know if the confidence is the word, but if you're in a position of need, you got to put your pride aside and ask for help. It's simple. It's
You
that
ask
simple.
for help when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You get tired enough of anything, pride goes out the window.
Yes.
You know, all that other stuff go out the window. I don't care how it look. I don't care what you think. I need some help. Help me. I make it a regular, recurring. I have a regular, reoccurring appointment with my therapist.
Good.
Monthly.
Good.
I want to make sure that my cheese don't slide off the cracker.
Okay.
And I need accountability people around me to say, hey, you know, you might need to rethink that one there. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you know, we pump ourselves up and psych ourselves up to, you know, like I said, I'm blessed and highly favored.
Yep.
Like you said, what does that look like? You know, could you even get in a place of identifying that you're in pain when you're so busy trying to convince people that you're okay and you're great at something, but yet still you're suffering? You know, pastors are checking out, they're committing suicide. You know, police officers are committing suicide. You know, and it's from every facet of life. And then it comes down to our young people. And again, they are at an alarming rate.
Yep.
You know, this year I've heard of more young people committing suicide, man, than I've ever have in my life.
But I also think that comes with people being educated and reporting on it being valid. Because a lot of times, especially in our community, there's a lot of things that are underreported. And so if it's not reported, you ain't gonna know it happened, you know? And I feel like now that the education is out there, people are finally saying, all right, it's not that big a deal. let me get help. A lot of times it really comes with being properly educated on the problem. And I don't want to get on anything or anybody, but that's why I like to speak about these things, especially as someone who identifies with the Christian faith. Because I can speak from a faith perspective, but I can also give you real empirical facts. Then we talk in business. Because I'm not just going to hit you with the Bible. I'm going to hit you with the Bible, I'm going to hit you with the DSM, and I'm also hit you with some life stuff. And that's what people want to hear. They want to hear some real stuff. They want to hear some real stuff.
So how did, from that time in 2014, after you decided not to go throw yourself in front of the 18-wheeler, where did you go from there? You didn't think it was going to come back up, did you?
No. I knew as bad as that was, that if it got worse, I could still get through it. My wife had gave me a wristband, and it was a black wristband with the purple words, and it said hope. Crazy that you said it. She bought me that wristband as a reminder that it didn't matter how crazy it got. If I had a little bit of hope, I would be okay. I literally wore that bracelet until I believed it. I didn't take it off. I showered with it. I sweated with it. I went to the gym with it. I wore this bracelet as a reminder to myself every day that I had hope. And there were some days where I didn't believe it. You know, some days where I didn't feel it.
Down at it.
But if I looked down, it was real for me. It was a tangible reminder that I can get through this. And you know, as we started the struggle got a little bit easier. The struggle got a little bit easier. I mean, and there were times where it was just up and down. But I felt like my ups were a little bit better than my downs. And to be honest, it was a slew of self-work. Because I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working through it. But it was a slew of self-work to get myself to this position. Because, you know, I was like, oh, I'm doing all of this and nobody want to come and ask me nothing. Nobody want to check in on me. You know, doing all this to seek the attention, but I'm not verbally asking for it. I'm giving you everything else to tell you that I need help, but I'm not saying that I need help. I had to open my dang on mouth. I had to open my mouth and say, I need some help. Help me.
Help me.
Yes.
Come on, somebody.
You know, when I said that, people knew that there was a problem. And when they knew there was a problem, they addressed me a whole lot different. It wasn't just, how you doing? You alright? Talk to you later. It was, how you doing? How you really doing?
And
tell me
listen,
the truth.
And listen.
And
listen.
Yes.
Don't just, hey, how you doing? And then keep it moving.
Right. And
listen to my response.
Yes.
Hear me.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I literally studied. I studied myself.
Yes, sir.
I studied what my bad days look like.
Yes, sir.
I studied what caused me to have those bad days so that I can intentionally counter those. And so not just on my education, because I'm educated on this, I took the time to even remove myself from looking at it from an educational lens and looking at it, because this is my life here. You know? My life ain't got to be all educated, sophisticated. I had to work on me.
It had to make sense.
It had to make
you make sense to me.
So, as a kid, as a teen, I used a lot of coping mechanisms. I was in art school my entire life. So I relied on poetry. I relied on music. I relied on prayer. I relied on religion. You know, now my friends, they used to call me a praiser, but now I call myself a worshiper. You know, it changed. You know, some things change. So, you know, I take God everywhere with me, but I also keep a real perspective. I did go from praising to worshiping, but I also went from doing things a little bit more consistently. There were days where I wouldn't wake up and take a shower. Keep it pushing. I'm good. I'm good.
As long as I'm not around.
You know what I'm saying?
Even if I'm around something, well, I'm still good. You know?
There were some days where I would just be okay presenting a lazy Eric. You know, I know that if I'm in any room and if there's anything that is possible, I know I can be a little good at most things because I'm a jack of all trades. But I got comfortable being content and being lazy. And so being comfortable in that space, you know, became a habit. And I got used to being subpar. I had to challenge that inadequacy with confidence, you know, because then I started to doubt my self-esteem. I then started to doubt my self-worth and my confidence. So I started to do things to naturally combat that. Like I know I got it going on in a lot of different things. And so I have to be mindful to not be boastful, but be confident. And so I tread that line of being boastful and confident, but it comes from a place of not thinking that I had a darn thing in me before. And so I really took a lot of time to really understand who I was.
Yes, sir.
Whose I was.
Yes, sir.
And how to manifest that.
Yeah. Wow. That you just went through several cycles of life.
Yes.
Basically, but was there someone to help mentor you through it? Walk you through that process from 2014, deciding not to throw yourself in front of the 18-wheeler. Was there someone to help mentor you? Did you have a hero, someone you watched, someone, was someone there?
My wife.
Yes.
I mean, my wife. Because she was the first person I saw every day. She was there with me when I was at my lowest.
Okay.
And now she's here when I'm getting pretty good, too. She's been there through it.
Love lifted me.
Oh,
come on, Doc.
Come on, Doc. She's been through it.
Yes, sir.
She's been with me through it all. You know, she's a true
Good to bad,
ride or die.
Yeah.
So her presence alone, her countenance.
Wifey, he said you are his ride or die. I hear you.
Yeah, her. But it was also my village.
Yeah.
I got like.
Yeah.
I could feel the prayers of my grandmother coming back from Orange, New Jersey, stopping in the back of my head.
The cloud of witnesses. Yeah.
You know, I was in tune with my actions and considering the way I might have looked like to my family members. So when I might be acting stupid, I'd be like, my aunts and uncles probably telling me, man, why you acting stupid? Go ahead and do something with yourself. I would consider the way that I was raised. I had people that I talked to. I went to therapy. And I loved my therapist. I loved my therapist. My therapist was great, but it was my village to keep it real with these people, to let people know that I need help right now.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with saying, hey, I need help.
Not at all.
I need some help. Help me. I mean, that's so powerful. I mean, because again, until we begin to identify, those places of saying, hey, I need help.
Yes.
My village can help me. I remember what was spoken over my life. And, so you have these entities in place that help keep you, your feet to the fire, and accountable, and your wife.
Yeah. But I think even beyond that was a matter of perspective. Because whatever you want to see, you can see. Whether that's good or bad. If you want to see bad, all you're going to see is bad. If you want to see good, you might have to look a bit harder. Yeah. But it's there.
Yeah.
And that's been the thing that I held on to. It didn't matter how dark the days might have gotten. There was always a reminder of some light. Even moonlight is a reminder of sunlight.
Yeah, it's a reminder. Just hold on, because joy come in the morning. Absolutely. So, but the key was to when everything was overwhelming, when you can't function, you don't have the ability to function, you can't get yourself together, and you can't, you start isolating yourself. These places are identifiers. So when you start dealing with those things, then it's time to say, hey, I need to kind of check in somewhere, or someone need to, help a brother out. So you pick up the phone or you in the next room, wifey in the next room, hey wifey, these are things, I don't feel like, and it's been over a week since you've taken a shower, something's wrong. You probably go a day and be like, hey, this is how I feel today. But, a week of, so go by, you need to have had some water up on you.
Yeah.
So those people that are close to you, in proximity to you, love you enough to say, hey, you need some help.
But I also think it's about being educated on what needing help looks like. Because to them, it just might look like that they going through something right now. He'll be all right. It comes with being just marginally educated on what their action is saying that they might need in that moment. And that's why I think with the light being shed on mental health and what that looks like, what the support looks like, especially in our community, that it's changing a little bit. You can feel the change in the community with the light and education from a mental health perspective being taught to these individuals.
Wow. But again, we're dealing with, say, someone who may not have had the light shine, on them per se, and so what does that look like? You walking around the house, as we said before, no shower. So someone who have not been educated. So what does that look like for them? Say, hey, you might want to go see someone. Because again, you really are not taking care of your personal hygiene or anything, and you stop going to work. I think that sets alarms off for a lot of people. But again, thankful to God that light is being shined on it, and we're starting to take it very seriously. Before, again, we start going to shoot up schools and go crazy in places. Hope. Hope. What does hope look like to you? Other than the band that you popped and to bring that reminder, what are some of those traits of hope? Do we have any questions or statements on that?
Well, Candace Dula, very powerful. I never felt like I could ask for help. And just Valerie Everett, proud to see. My CAU alum, one of the former lead chaplain assistants.
That's right. That's right.
I think that feeling like I could ask for help.
Amen. Did you go ahead?
What I would say to the Candace, and to anyone else, it's never a bad time to ask for help. I think we get into a community, when I call my uncle, we always ask each other, is this a bad time? But I feel like if you need help, it's never a bad time to ask for it. Just thought I'd put that out there.
How to help a friend in need. Proverbs 12:26. The godly give good advice to their friends. The wicked lead them astray. Calmness. Remain calm and comfort your friend in need. Honesty. Encourage them to talk and trust you. Non-judgmental. Create a safe space. Resourcefulness. Share ideas on where and how to get help. Empathy. Let them know you understand and care. Reassure. Let them know that they will get through this issue. And encouragement. Encourage them to get help. One of the last stats here is, according to the Health and Human Services on minority health, the African Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious mental health problems than the general population. Only about 1/4 of African Americans seek mental health care compared to 40% of whites. I think we need to really, where we have St. Elizabeth Hospital, and we see people moving up and down with shopping carts and talking to themselves. I think that, we see it all around. And so it's like, instead of laughing at them, make sure that they can, get that help, that necessary help. Because again, we tend to laugh at things we don't understand, which means what sheds light on what you previously spoke about the light. When we are educated, then we're able to engage. Okay, you got about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was just very true. Very true.
You have about, what do you want to, people, if you could speak to a young man, or if you could speak to your 24-year-old self, your 22-year-old self, I would even go down to your 18-year-old self. Look right there in the camera and speak to your 18-year-old self about suicide.
In one of my graduate classes, I heard probably one of the most powerful things that I've ever heard. 2 simple words. I'm here. I'm here. Someone's there for you. Sometimes we forget, or we create a space where we're so isolated that we forget all of the help that is at our disposal. And we remind ourselves of all the times that we felt rejected, and that leads us to a place of dejection. And that isolation creates a space where there's no one there, and we forget that there is hope, or there is someone there. To your point, the ways that we can help someone, or if you don't know what to do, if you don't know what to say, just use these 2 words. If you have a friend that's in need, I'm here. When someone calls you and they have a problem, say, I'm here. It's the easiest thing to say. It's the realest thing to say. And it lets people know that I got someone there. So if I could talk to my 18-year-old self, or if I was talking to my 18-year-old self, and my 18-year-old self was going through these things, I would just let them know that I'm here. That lets people know that whatever they might need, Whether you can do it or not, you're just there. And some people just need that reminder that someone is there.
Wow. Thank you, brother.
No problem, man.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and coming in and being transparent with your story and giving us information on suicide and the preventive aspects of it. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Amen. As one of the things that we were talking about is hope. Many people are suffering because they have no hope. Many people are going through and want to give up because they have no hope. Well, the Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Hope is that inner space within yourself, and no other person can give you hope. That is a space that must be fostered within yourself. And you have to build on that yourself. You must take responsibility and accountability to add to your own faith to build your hope. That is the only thing that stand between you and living is your hope to live. You have to continue to add to value to your hope to allow it to manifest. Hey, I am here. I am here. My time is up. I thank you for yours. Remember, you can catch the rebroadcast of this show on YouTube about an hour after this premiere. And remember, when good men stand together, they become greater. I am my brother's keeper and see you on the other side of greatness. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you.
My brothers keep a show, I gotta let them know. Tuesday, 7 p.m., gotta let them know. 3 M's, mint and model, gotta multiply. God gets all the glory, hands in the sky. My brothers keep a show, I gotta let them know. Tuesday, 7 p.m., gotta let them know. 3 M's, mint and model, gotta multiply. God gets all the glory, hands in the sky. My brothers keep a show. Introduce the host. My brothers keep a show. Introduce the host. That's the Dr. Michael Green.